Hello everyone, welcome to the Idea Art Movie YouTube channel. Today's topic is mangroves in India. Now, let's begin with the topic. Introduction of mangroves in India. Mangroves represent a characteristic littoral near the seashore forest ecosystem. These are mostly evergreen forests that grow in sheltered low-lying coasts, estuaries, mudflats, saddle creeks, backwaters, coastal water held back on land, marshes and lagoons of tropical and subtropical regions. It grows below the high water level of spring tides. The best locations are where abundant silt is brought down by rivers or on the backshore of scraping sandy beaches. Characteristics of mangroves. It is a variety of species, broad-leaf trees that is 10 to 40 feet high, lying in muddy creeks and tidal estuaries. They are located on the intermediate zone between the land and the sea and represents one of the best examples of ecotone. They are highly productive ecosystem and the trees may vary in height from 8 to 20 meters. It protects the shoreline from the effect of cyclones and tsunamis. They are breeding and spawning ground for many commercially important fishes. Mangroves are shrubs, small trees that grow in coastal saline or brackish water. They are salt tolerant, also called um, halophytes, and are adapted harsh coastal conditions. Mangrove vegetation facilitates more water loss. Leaves are thick and contain salt secreting glands. Some block absorption of salt at their root itself. Mm, They contain a complex soil filtration system and complex root system cope with salt water immersion and wave action. They are adapted to the low oxygen, that is anosmic conditions of waterlogged mud. They produce pneumatophores, that is blind roots, to overcome the respiration problem in the anaerobic soil conditions. Mangroves occurs worldwide in the tropic and subtropic regions, mainly between the latitudes 25 degree north and 25 degree south. It also has been found that there are about 80 different species of mangrove trees. They require high solar radiations to filter saline water through their roots. This explains why mangroves are confined to only tropical and subtropical coastal waters. Mangroves occurs in variety of configuration. Some species, that is example, um, Rhizophora, send arching top roots down into the water. Adventitious roots which emerge from the main trunk of a tree above ground level are called stilt roots. There are over 100 species of mangrove plants. These are home to around 174 species of marine megafauna. Species like oysters, shrimp, sponges, barnacles, etc. are found here. Mangroves exhibit viviparity mode of reproduction, that is, seeds germinate in the tree itself before falling to the ground. This is an adaptive mechanism to overcome the problem of germination in saline water. Let's move on the other topic, that is mangroves profile in India, or we can say that where are mangrove ecosystem found in India. Okay, mangrove forests occupy approx 2 lakh square kilometers across the globe in tropical regions, almost 30 countries. India has total mangrove cover around 4,921 square kilometers, which is just 3% of the mangrove area. The mangroves of Sundarban, meaning beautiful forest, are the largest single block tidal holophytic mangrove in the world. It is famous for the Royal Bengal tiger and crocodile. Here, mangrove area are being cleared for agricultural use also. This mangrove stretches across India and Bangladesh. The mangroves of Bhitarkanika, which is located in Orissa, are the second largest in the Indian subcontinent and harbor a high concentration of typical mangrove species and high genetic species. Mangrove swamps occurs in profusion in the intertidal mudfloods on both the sides of the creek in the Godavari Krishna deltaic region that is located on east coast of Andhra Pradesh. Mangroves of Kichavaram and Vedaranyam in Tamil Nadu are now degraded mainly due to the construction of aquaculture ponds and salt pans. On the western coast of India, mangroves are mostly scrubby and degraded occur along the intertidal region of estuaries and creeks that it is located in Maharashtra, Goa and Karnataka. The mangrove vegetation in the coastal zone of Kerala is very sparse and thin. In Gujarat, located the direction northwest coast, mangrove are found mainly in the Gulf of Kutch and the Kori Creek. Mangrove area of scrubby type with stunted growth forming narrow, discontinuous patches on soft clay mud. The condition of mangrove is improving especially in the Kori Creek region, which is paleo delta of the Indus River. In size, mangroves range from bushy stands of dwarf mangroves found in the Gulf of Kutch to tall stands found in the Sundarban. On the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, for example, Baratang Island mangroves, there are small tidal estuaries, narcotic inlets, and lagoons which support dense and diverse undisturbed mangrove flora. Now the next topic, role and some important aspects of mangroves. Okay. Mangroves are structurally complex with diversified habitats. This means that they create a unique environment that serves a niche for a large variety of organisms. These forests serve as breeding and feeding grounds and also nurseries for a variety of commercially important marine organisms like fishes and crustaceans. Mangrove plants have additional special roots such as crop roots, pneumatophores, which help to impede water flow and thereby enhance the depositing of sediment in areas where it is already occurring. Stabilize the coastal shore, provide a breeding ground for fishes. NASA has termed them the best carbon scrubber because of their role as significant carbon sinks. They store more carbon dioxide than most of the other forest types. Mangroves moderate monsoonal tidal floods and reduce inundation of coastal lowlands. It also prevents coastal soil erosion. They also protect coastal lands from the tsunami, hurricanes, and floods. enhance the natural recycling of nutrients. Mangrove supports numerous flora, avifauna, and wildlife. They filter out heavy metals from the mud and deposit them as rich sediment. The extensive mangrove root system is capable of weakening the impact of the sea on land, provide a safe and suitable environment for breeding, spawning, rearing of several species. It also supplies wood, firewood, medicinal plants, and edible plants to local people. They provide numerous employment opportunities to local communities and augment their livelihood. The Sundarbans serve as a flood barrier in West Bengal. They protect the city of Kolkata from the frequent cyclones. The very most recent of which was the cyclone Amphan. They have important ecological functions like recycling nutrients, etc. Sundarban is a biosphere reserve and has been declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. The Sundarban is the largest delta declared as a UNESCO Heritage Site. It houses the largest number of Royal Bengal tigers in the world. It also houses over 250 species of birds, 120 species of fishes, reptiles like the saltwater crocodile, etc. Jitakarnika is an important Ramsar wetland site. More than 220 species of birds have been recorded from this area. It is also the largest known nesting site for the olive Ridley sea turtles. Next move on the next topic, that is the important types of mangroves. Now here we discuss about the three major types of mangroves, that is red, black, and white. The very one first is red mangroves. They grow along coastlines and are the hardiest among the three major mangrove plant types. Second one is black mangroves. They are named so because they consist of dark bark. They usually grow at the higher elevation than red mangroves. They have access to more oxygen as their roots are more exposed. Now the last one is third one, that is white mangrove. They grow at the higher elevation than the red and the black mangroves. Generally, they do not have aerial roots, but sometimes there is a unique growth of tag roots when oxygen is depleting due to flood. Now we will talk about the threats to mangroves. Anthropogenic activities or man-made activities are a major threat to mangroves. That is urbanization, industrialization, and the accompanying start of industrial effluent, domestic sewage, and pesticides residue from agricultural land threaten these fragile ecosystems. Salt fun and aquaculture cause damage to the mangroves. Shrimp farming along destroys 35,000 hectares of mangroves. From the sea level rise, cyclones and tsunamis, coastal erosion and oil spills, etc. From the rivers, polluted water, from communities destroyed for fuel and fodder, plastic bags and other waste is a major threat for mangroves. Both can destroy mangrove seedlings and damage mature trees. Fragmentation of mangrove forests is another consequence of unplanned human expansion. Fragmentation affects the dispersal and movement of species. Some species like Bijoria, cylindrical, and Sonarchia acida are at the brink of extinction. About 40% of mangroves on the west coast has been converted into a farmland, and other settlement is just 3 decades. The mangrove on the Maharashtra coastal stretched over 200 kilometers in the 1970s. By 2001, the stretch reduced to 118 kilometers. The mangrove in Maharashtra are facing further destruction as the upcoming bullet train project requires the cutting down of 13.36 hectares of mangroves in the Thane Creek. Nearly 30,000 trees are to be cut down for the project. Rising sea level in another challenge to these mangroves, especially on the Bay of Bengal coast. Now, the very important is climate change. It's increasing the frequency of extreme weather events like the Amphan cyclone. The mangroves are one of the most vulnerable ecosystems of these natural calamities. There is an urgent need to restore degraded mangroves with the help of governmental action as well as participation of local communities. Now move on to the our next topic, that is way to conserve mangroves. Means how to conserve our mangroves, how to save our mangroves. Suitable sites needs to be identified for planting mangrove species. Mangrove nursery banks must be developed for propagation purposes. Environmental monitoring in the existing mangrove area should be done systematically and periodically. Potential areas should be identified for implementing the management action plan for mangroves, especially in the cyclone-prone areas. Various threats to the mangrove resources and their roots causes needs to be identified so that earnest measures should be taken to eliminate those causes. The participation of the local community should be made compulsory for the conservation and management purposes. Holistic survey of mangroves along the coast is to be taken up to prepare biodiversity at least for mangroves. Coastal industries and private owners should be encouraged to actively participate in protecting and developing mangrove biodiversity. The forest officials should be trained on taxonomy, biology, and ecology of the mangrove species. Move on to the next topic. What are the efforts taken to protect these mangroves? Or you can say that what are the initiatives which we are taking for to protect the mangroves? In 1976 amendment to the Indian Constitution, which add fundamental duties in which one duty of every citizen of India to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife. Government of India set up the National Mangrove Committee to advise about mangrove conservation and development. The National Forest Policy 1988 lists effective conservation and management of natural forest ecosystem, which includes the mangrove ecosystem as a priority area for forestry research. The Indian Forest Act 1927 and the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 protects flora and fauna, although they do not specifically mention mangroves but can also apply to the conservation of the flora and fauna of mangrove ecosystem. The Environment Protection Act 1986 plays a crucial role in the conservation and management of mangrove ecosystem. It declares a coastal regulation zone in which industrial and other activities are restricted to protect the coastal environment. Many mangrove sites are protected under the Ramsar Convention at the global level, including India. The IUCN and the Nature Conservancy have laid down a global scientific map for mangrove restoration. Mangroves for the Future (MFF) is an initiative by IUCN and the UNDP, that is United Nations Development Programme. It is also running mangrove restoration and sustainable development projects with gender integration as a core strategy in several Asian countries. Strict legislation to protect mangroves is in the place in many countries. For example, Indonesia. The organization Global Mangrove Alliances, that is GMA, is supporting a target of increasing mangrove coverage by 20% over the current extent by 2030. The organizations like the Global Mangrove Watch are working tirelessly towards mangroves conservation. Wetlands International also has reasonable experience in aligning with various stakeholders in mangroves conservation. It collaborates with a few other organizations, the IUCN and the GMA, that is Global Mangrove Alliance, to work towards mangrove conservation. Let's move on our other topic or next topic. Way forward. Systematic and periodic environmental monitoring of existing mangroves. The various faunal species dependent on these forests must also be documented. Use of biorestoration to revive degraded species of mangroves. These techniques help maintain the original biodiversity. Ecological restoration revives the mangroves at a faster rate than natural regeneration. Instead of monoculture plantation of mangrove species, restoration efforts should involve sufficient species diversity. This will raise forests that are more resilient to the impact of climate change. A major need is the enforcement of legislative mandate. Private sector establishments near the mangroves can be incentivized to take up conservation activities. Community participation for conservation and management. The community dependent on these forests can be supported to take up alternative economic activities to increase sustainable use of these mangroves. At the same time, community level conservation of the mangroves should be incentivized. Cultural advantages can be leveraged in mangrove conservation. For example, Bondivi is a forest goddess worshipped by the people of different faiths, that is Hindus and Muslims, in the Sundarbans. The Bondivi faith takes excessive aggression and greed in Sundarbans. That is, people are to enter the forest only when absolutely necessary. That is, for example, livelihood. People are not to carry weapons into the forest. Smoking in the forest is seen as a discretion, etc. Thank you so much for watching my video.